I'm going to show you how to make a killer pitch deck. Hi, I'm Jim, I'm a filmmaker, I've made features and shorts, and often a pitch deck is the first stop when I start any project to help other people understand my creative vision and what it is I'm trying to make. Also, there's a link in the description below, and if you sign up for the Honest Filmmaker e-newsletter, you can get your very own copy of my pitch deck. And this is a very basic version you can complete as we go through each page in this episode. So usually a pitch deck will start for me after I finish the script, but you can actually start it before you even start the script and you've just got your story, because this is going to be a really good way to start to put those pieces together and actually see what that finished film is going to feel like, what it's going to look like for other people to understand your vision. The most important part of that pitch deck is the artwork, because that's instantly going to connect people to your project and help give a visual understanding of what the movie's going to be like. What I always point people to do is to take a look at other posters for films within their genre, not copy them, but do consider the ones that are popular, and you will start to see some trends. So those are the sort of trends you want to go for, because they're the things that are easily identifiable within that genre, so that when people see your poster, it's the first thing they think of. And remember, this poster you're getting created or you're creating yourself isn't necessarily going to be the poster that ends up going out with the film, but it's something that's going to help people easily understand what it is you're making. Now, as a side to this, I would say if you want to be super prepared and you have cast some of the roles in your film, and hopefully you have because they can make it into the pitch deck, I'd probably arrange a green screen shoot with a couple of the leads, get some really good posed photography done that you can hand over to somebody who's going to do your artwork, or you can use yourself to include those people in the artwork, because the main goal of this pitch deck is to show people that this project is definitely happening. Here it is, and there's no greater way of doing that than showing them a poster that actually features some of the actors who are appearing in the film as those characters. And it's easy enough to do. You could get a pop-up green screen from Amazon, take a bunch of photos on your phone, just make sure you've got no shadows on that green screen. Then you'll be able to either cut those figures out yourself in Photoshop or hand it over to a designer who do the same. So once you've got your poster, another thing to remember is just keep that title nice and clear so people are going to see it, and make that title nice and memorable so people are going to remember it. Don't bother putting tons of credits on your poster because they'd be too small anyway. And remember, when you do get that poster created, ask for portrait and landscape versions, because those will come in very handy both in this pitch deck and online. Even better if you can get access to a PSD file where you can remove layers such as the title, because that'll look even better when you're creating pages within your deck. So what would I open with? First page has got to be the title of the film, ideally in the same logo font as the title that's going to appear on the poster. Second page is just dedicated to your artwork. You want to hit them with that early. Third page, now this is where you hit them with the synopsis, and you really need to get this right. There's a bunch of websites you can look at on how to write a good synopsis, but there are a few ingredients that I really like to capture in mine. You want to be able to explain who your lead character is, you want to explain the problem they face, and some of the challenges they're going to come across along the way. You're also going to leave the person reading that synopsis with a sense of excitement or intrigue, so they want to watch the full film to find out exactly what happens. We don't want to give them the entire story, we just want to give them the setup, what this story is about, who it's about, and what journey they're going to go on. This is probably a stage in this process I'd consider using ChatGPT, any sort of AI that's going to tighten up my synopsis and make it work for me. So the next part is what I call the director's statement, or you could call it the director's vision. And this is really about explaining to the reader, you as director, how you think this film's going to look, feel, and how it's going to make the audience feel. So you really want to brainstorm some words that this story evokes. You're going to want to structure them. What I usually do is I write maybe 3 or 4 paragraphs, tighten them up, and then I lift some quotes from those paragraphs, almost as if they've been written in a magazine and I'm using the quotes, and then you can bold those quotes so they really stick out of your block of text. Now within your pitch deck, since this isn't really a public facing document, you can use stills from other films, you can use stills you found on the internet, photos you found, because you're just trying to tell a bit of a story and you're not sharing it publicly, so you can use whatever images you want to kind of evoke the story and evoke what people are going to get out of the film. With a director's statement or a director's vision, I'd probably just spend 2 pages doing this, and the main goal of this pitch deck is to have as little text as possible, make it very visual, and if you are going to put text, you really want to have words lifted in bold, punched out, so that people could easily skim through it and get a sense of what the document is. They can always go back and read it in detail if this presentation catches their eye, but for now we just want to get words, a couple of sentences, and lots of artwork and lots of imagery in front of them. Next, I'd go onto your cast bios. So hopefully you have got some people cast in this film. What I'd do is get a nice headshot of them, probably their acting headshot, unless they've been in a particularly important TV show or film, and you can use a still of them that people are going to recognise, so maybe they're very memorable. If not, I'd use their acting headshot, and then what I do is do a short bio on them, and again, use that bold to punctuate any particular projects that you think might be of interest or relevant to the person reading this pitch deck. I'd probably only do maybe 2 leads and a co-star, and if you've got a celebrity or a famous actor in your film, then obviously you want to dedicate a page to them, pepper it with some photos from their career so they're easily identifiable. And what you're trying to do here is explain to the person reading this pitch deck why this cast is perfect for this film. So for example, if you're talking about your famous actor, then you might want to mention that they're internationally famous. You might want to mention that they've got a lot of fans or particular fans of a show they were in, because potentially if this is an investor, or it may even be a sales and distribution person, you want to show them that this cast is going to bring people to watch this film. One of the things you can do, and I have done this before in some presentations, is list the social media followings of those actors. So if they've got a particularly high Instagram following, you could list that bigger with a little Insta logo. So again, the people reading know that these people have got an audience they're going to bring to your project. If it's for an investor and you want to make them feel super secure, then you might well want to put in a bio on yourself if you're directing or producing, a bio on your DOP to show that they've worked on some other projects and they've been successful, and anyone else you think is a key figure in that production process that's going to show this project off at its best. Next up is Comparibles, and what this is it's films, similar films in the same genre, ideally low to micro budget, and you're going to go on to Box Office Mojo, you're going to find films similar to yours and you're going to list them, show the production budget and show how much the movie made. And what this is designed to do is to show that films from the same stable as your film that have been successful, so you've got a proven track record of films in this genre similar to yours that have done well. So this next page I've recently started adding to my pitch decks, and essentially what this does is it uses other films to explain 3 things to the person reading the pitch deck, and these vary depending on what genre you're looking at. So I'm going to use horror as my example here. Now for this I do the theme, so that's the main central theme of the movie. So for example, if it was about paranoia, I might use Invasion of the Body Snatchers. Or maybe if it was religious horror, you might use something like The Exorcist, or The Omen. Alien horror, it'd be like a Paranormal Activity. So you've got your theme in one box, then you've got what I call the vibe, and this is kind of how this film makes you feel. So for example, a film like The Social Network has got a certain vibe to it. A film like Halloween has got a completely different vibe. So it's kind of keying the person reading this pitch deck into the particular vibe of this project. The last one, and this is more around the horror genre, is the fear. So again, this probably ties into that paranoia. So perhaps I've got Invasion of the Body Snatchers at the beginning because it's kind of this paranoid film, and then at the end for the fear I've got the thing, so it's that isolation, being trapped somewhere. For example, if you were doing a comedy, you might do the laughs, and you might in that box decide, okay, this is going to be slapstick or it's going to be more of a dialogue based comedy. So these 3 categories, and you can change them, rename them, allow you to convey very easily and simply, using other movies, what your film is. Depending on who you're showing this pitch deck to, you can include kind of like a top line budget. That might be specifically for investors if you want to give them that much information, and I probably wouldn't at this stage. At this stage, you're just wowing them with the film and the potential of what it could be. So I'd probably steer away from budget unless you've got a specific person you want to explain those numbers to. Next up, you could do your promotion strategy. So if you've got a particular audience who are interested in this exact movie, you've done your research on your audience, you could even put a little bio of that audience member. You could then put down a promotion strategy, whether that includes film festivals, places you're going to push the film, you're going to promote it, existing audiences that are going to be interested in watching your film, and how you're going to reach them. Now, if you're using this pitch deck as a presentation, so a physical presentation where you're in the room with the person, because you can easily stick this into PowerPoint or Keynote, then this is the point at which you'd probably play them some sort of sizzle reel or trailer. And people often make these from shots from other movies, music from other movies, because again, this isn't public facing, you're just trying to explain to somebody what your film looks and feels like. But essentially, if it is a live, living, breathing document, you could also embed a Vimeo or a YouTube video within this page so people can press play and get an understanding of the film. If you've shot promo materials, maybe when you did the green screen, you shot some nice moving shots of your cast, you could even use that and layer that in with the title. If you've got any more artwork, I'd probably put that in and hit them with that on the second to last page. And on the very last page, you want to make sure nice and clearly you've got your name, your contact number, and your email address. I say nice and clear because you really want to give people an easy way to contact you after they've looked at this document. I've found pitch decks really useful in the past. They're a really good way of showing someone that your project exists in the world, that it's only going to get bigger. The great things about these documents as well is that they force you to describe it. Put it on a page and describe it, and when you go into other meetings, they'll give you a nice shorthand for explaining to people what your film's about, who it's aimed at. All that kind of research is done at the pitch deck stage. Hopefully, if you've downloaded the template, you can just start to populate that with all of your own content, all of your own text, imagery that's really going to help get your project made. Please do stick in the comments if you've got any other pages that you use in a pitch deck, and if you have any success with my template. See you on the next one.